Okay, what's so urgent? Do I need to be looking for another job?
What do you want, bro? To talk. Hey, can I come in? In my house?
Danny, are you on your period?
There's just so many men.
Remember the red flag?
In and out.
The random guy who
It's
you
like a
almost went to prison
merry-go-round.
for?
Can you move on with this announcement?
I have news.
Yo, what's good, everybody, and thank you for tuning in to another Tyler Perry Sistas review. If this is your first time coming to my channel, welcome. If you are a returning family member, then you already know what it is and what it always will be. Be sure to like, comment, share, subscribe. Tell somebody to tell somebody if you choose to, but if not, just sit back, relax while we get into this messy, and I do mean messy, thing. All right, now this is the trailer / extended trailer for Sistas Season 9, Episode 16, entitled Unbreakable Bond. So first thing first, we see that Fatima is asking Andi if she needs to be, searching or looking for another job. And the look on Andi's face is she's kind of taken aback. Now, I'm not sure, because y'all know how they love to cut up these previews. Even though that is what Fatima asked, I'm not sure if that was Andi's response from that question or the question about Zach seeing her naked. I really don't know. Regardless of what it is, if I was Andi, I would not be having a conversation with Fatima at this moment. Meaning, I'm here with my girls because Karen called this impromptu / emergency meeting with the sisters. Is obviously important. She hasn't been out of the house, and we see that Karen has a different spirit about herself. I would be more inclined to find out what this is about than having any type of conversation with Fatima, because I do understand, someone else's, urgent matter is not my emergency, and that's just the vibe that I would have towards Fatima if I was Andi, but we already know Andi is not going to do that. Then there is a scene with Gary. Lord, Cheeto is so fine. Okay, I know I talk about him being fine a lot because Cheeto is one attractive man, but Gary is a demon. Okay, from the pits of hell, and that's where he deserves to be. So we see that Gary shows up at Hayden's house and he wants to come in. So supposedly, and I'm going to be doing the synopsis that they have released, Gary is trying to make amends with people. It's a little too late, sir. We thought you were in Ghana. Why are you in the States? Why are you in Atlanta, Georgia? You're not trying to terrorize these people, even though we don't know about you terrorizing people, Gary, but you're coming to make amends. And I just believe that Gary is too far gone. You just need to get it right with God, boo-boo, and go back to the motherland, because nobody wants you here. And Hayden is looking like, you want to come into my house? I don't think so. But I think Hayden is weak. Okay, and I think he's going to let Gary in. I wouldn't be shocked if he does, because Hayden has no backbone, and Hayden has no friends, and Hayden wants friends, even if it's Gary. So I believe we're going to see Gary and Hayden have some type of conversation on the upcoming episode of Sistas. Now we get into the nitty of the gritty. So the women are, still out to eat, and Andi asked Danny if she is on her period. And I think that is an appropriate question, because I'm not understanding why Danny is acting the way that she is acting towards Andi. What is she mad about? Danny showed up to Andi's house unannounced and uninvited, and she saw Gary there. And from that moment, Danny has been in her feelings. I'm talking about deep in her feelings. And I'm not sure the reason why. I don't understand. Andi does not have to tell everyone everything that's going on in her life. Then Danny says something about, you just have so many men coming in and out, in and out. I said, skirt. Danny, baby, I'm going to need you to park. Because as you're trying to lay out Andi's whole facts, I'm going to need you to remember, baby, you got her beat by one man. Okay, you got her beat by one, sis. So I'm going to need you to pipe down trying to call her out when you do the exact same thing. I'm not understanding. You around here sleep, I'm going to get back to that. We're going to put a pin in it. But the way that Danny sat there in her aura of almightiness to try to call Andi out about sleeping with multiple men when we know that Danny does the exact same thing. And I'm not on anybody's side with that, but at least Andi's roster is it's a lot better than Danny's. Okay, we just gonna put that out there, but that is not here or there when it comes to this conversation. Then we get Andi, and y'all know Andi can't really argue, and she can't really argue. Andi she attempts to call out Danny for the man who she almost went to prison for. I said, skirt, Andi, you can't say that, ma'am. You can't make that argument because didn't you almost get locked up because of Gary Borders? You remember him? In FBI and seizing all your stuff. You were one step and 3 clicks away with your red shoes from being put in the land of prison. Okay, you weren't that far off. But y'all know Andi, she ain't got no good comebacks. She just don't got it. Andi, this is not for you. But it's really sad because I feel like this is such a mute point that they are trying to argue with each other when they're almost in the same realm when it comes to the men coming in and out of their lives. And so because of that, Danny tells Karen to hurry up with her announcement. Like, what is it that she has to say? And I'm incorporating part of the extended trailer in here as well. I'm not going to show it because I don't have a good enough quality of it. But basically, Danny tells Andi that she's getting on her nerves. Andi's response is, that sounds like a you problem. And I wholeheartedly agree with that. Andi is doing nothing but existing. And she's getting on your nerves, ma'am. Karen is looking like, what the hell is going on within this sister circle or this sister group that I don't know about? Because Karen poses the question, like, what is going on? I called y'all here because I have news, and now it appears that all hell is breaking loose, and I don't know why. And so Andi's response is, she said something along the lines like, I feel like we're, drifting apart or we are falling apart. And so when I think about it, I just don't understand. And so this video actually might be longer than what I expected it to be. But what gets me is when I think about exactly what is happening amongst the sisters, I feel like this is something that happens within a lot of sister circles or a lot of villages when you have been friends with someone since childhood or your teenage years, and then you become real grown ass women. So you looking at the sisters who probably have known each other since they were 18, I'm going to say between 17 and 19 years of age. Now they are in their mid 30s. So much life has happened in between. So many transitions has happened in between. And sometimes people don't know how to transition with that. I just don't believe that everyone is entitled to your business. So when it comes to Danny wanting to know any and everything that's going on with Andi, it's none of her business. What exactly are you mad at? I could understand if Danny approached Andi and said, you know what? The thing that makes me upset is that when you and I went to Karen's home to check on her and to provide comfort, you weren't even there a good 5 minutes before you left to go get some penis. And in actuality, Andi did not go to get any penis. It was a meeting, I guess, / date. I wouldn't even call it a date. It was a meeting with Dr. Vaughn. They were talking about Dr. Cruz and everything that happened with that. And then we did find out some personal information about Dr. Vaughn. And that's what it was. So if that is where Danny is, having this anger from, or this, I don't know, this menacing attitude about, then express it. But to just not know and to just be offering up this nasty attitude, I'm not understanding. Even when Andi sat down and she was telling them that, Dr. Vaughn showed up to her office and brought her some coffee, Danny is looking uninterested, even though she's still there for the tea that's being spilled. Was it just that? Does it matter? Does it really matter? You have a bum on your couch. And I honestly believe when it comes to Andi and Danny, now I do believe that there is some jealousy there, because whether people agree with Andi's lifestyle or her being promiscuous in her lifestyle, Andi stands on what she stands on. It is what it is. With Danny, on the other hand, the moment Danny don't even get out of a relationship before she's already introducing another one into her life. She wanted to have a hot girl summer. You invite the first guy that smiled at you back to your apartment, don't know anything about this man, and you have sex with him. And she's done that several times. She's done it with El Fuego, even though they've known him since college. He was back in town. Or not back in town. He was in her view for a good hot second, and now you busting it wide open because you're mad at Preston. You had sex with Preston, the first time he showed up to your house and cooked you a steak? It don't take much to get Danny's legs open. It really don't. Then, I forgot his name, but the guy that she met at the gay bar took him home, had sex with him. So Danny has had her share of one night stands. I'm not whole shaming or whole bashing her either, but it's just amazing to me how she's using the excuse of Andi has so many men coming and going as if she doesn't do the same thing. And then you get a wet back and you get nothing in return. Nothing. You let Tony sleep on your couch, eat your food, use your electricity, and then this brother has the nerve to tell you that your coochie don't get wet. Danny, you're losing. Danny, you're losing, okay? I'm not saying it's a winner or a loser, but if there was, Danny would definitely be taking an L. I'm just not sure what she's mad at. Even with Sabrina. Sabrina has been in no rush to tell Andi that, hey, I'm boning Danny's cousin. He just got out of prison. He doesn't have a job, but he's giving me the best sex of my life. She's not giving that information. So why do y'all want to know her business so desperately? That's the part that I don't understand, and that's the part that just doesn't make sense to me. But I do feel like if they're going to have the sisters on this transitional journey within their sisterhood and within their friendship, please. Because it feels like the writers know how to get the people in the plane, know how to get the plane off the ground, even have it in the air. But baby, they never land the plane. It always crashes. They always lose pressure. Something always, one of the wheels don't work, don't want to come down. They never quite land the plane well. It's very few far and in between. Talk about when friendships break up. Talk about when those things happen. Make it realistic, because I think that's a real thing that happens. There are so many friends who go through the ebbs and flows, the ups and downs of friendship. There are moments that you may have to step away to get yourself together, then come back. If you come back, talk about it. That's my whole thing. Just talk about it. And to Danny will always be on my shiznit list, because you put yourself in a position for Fatima to tell you how she felt about Karen baby dying. And you're holding that. You ain't told nobody. That's something you keeping close to the vest. But you want to be on here mad because Andi ain't telling her business. Yet you're holding something that's so dire if it ever were to come out. So Danny can have several seats. I don't give a damn how she feel about Andi's life when you have put yourself in a position for some other person to tell you that they are relieved that your goddaughter died. Danny can forever kiss my ass. It will always be up and stuck with that chick. And then there's a scene with Fatima. She is in the parking garage and there is someone walking behind her. They cut it off in the preview that comes on after the episode, but then in the extended trailer, it is Gary, and she pulls that thing out on him. I don't blame her, because we don't know what Gary is coming on. We don't know what his energy is. All we know is that Gary causes heartache and strife and loss and pain wherever he goes. So I understand why Fatima pulled that thing out on him, and I would keep it on him until I know that I'm safe. Period. That's how I feel about it. I hope that when Karen tells her friends about her relocating, that no one can shift or change her mind. It appears that they are going to be somewhat sad when she delivers the news. And if I was Karen, okay. She tells them a lot has been going on, and I'm just happy for her. Baby, go. Because these heifers have tried you on so many levels. Just go. Go experience a life, experience your new freedom and everything like that. As I stated, this video might be a little bit long because it's some other stuff I want to talk about too. I appreciate everybody in the comment section who has been commenting, especially about this whole thing with Andi and Fatima. And as I've stated so many times, I'm looking at all the comments and looking at comments along the different social media platforms. And it is so amazing to me how now all of a sudden Andy and Fatima don't need to be friends. They need to separate. They need to do this. Now, I'm not talking about my people who've been riding with that narrative for years, just like I have. But now, because we don't like how Andy is standing on business with Fatima, now they don't need to be friends. Allie Nick been saying that for a long time. When I was going by the name of Hustle Queen Lee, I've been on that for a very long time. And I do want to make one thing clear. With Andi, when I talk about how she didn't set clear boundaries with Fatima, which is why Fatima shows up at this dinner that does not include her, that interrupts Karen's announcement because what she has to say, I guess, is so important. And to me, it's not. There hasn't been clear boundaries set. And Andi is a partner now. And I made this statement to, I think it's Kari. Me and Kari be having some good back and forths in my comment section. I absolutely enjoy her responses because she stand on what she believe in and she don't waver, and I appreciate that, and I stand on what I stand on and I don't waver, and I appreciate that as well. But I do just love the fact when people have a perspective and they can back up why they see the things that they see and how they see it. Thank you guys for listening. Until next time, I will holler at y'all later, and y'all be safe out there. Mwah.